They just don't seem to understand why this is the case.
Are there any places that the vice president is overperforming Joe Biden in 2020? So we could show you that as well. We just bring that out here. Harris overperforming in 2020.
Holy smokes.
There you go. So let this go away and see if there's anything on the east side there.
Literally nothing?
Literally nothing.
Literally not one count?
We talk a lot about these different demographics and these assumptions of where they're going to go. Latinos in Texas, a district that's 97% Latino, went 75 percentage points for Donald Trump. Why?
Misogyny.
It's on the border.
It's
the border
misogyny.
crisis is on their doorstep. And they were begging people to care about it for years.
Misogyny
We need to
and
take some
sexism.
lessons.
That's what that was.
The lessons are not
Knock,
misogyny
knock.
and sexism.
Who's there? Oh, my gosh, it's Whoopi.
That little bit at the end that you saw from Sunny Hostin, or what she just said, basically saying racist, misogynistic. This right here is the reason why it is that I'm making this video. Now, guys, I want to start this video out by saying that no, it's not primarily about Sunny Hostin. This is basically a video that's going to kind of remind you guys of what I said a couple of videos ago, which is the Democratic Party is dead and buried. And I mean that not figuratively. I don't mean that hyperbolically. I mean that they are, for the most part, dead and buried. Like, they will not be coming back unless there is some massive, drastic, and I mean drastic overhaul of that party. And of course, these people are confused to why it is that they lost. Now, Styx Hexenhammer made a very good video that I'll link in the description box of this video. As a matter of fact, there's been a lot of very good videos made on this issue, and there are a lot of meltdowns. I'm showing you guys some of again, here are the B-roll footage. And by the way, I'm seriously thinking about making a meltdown collage video. You know, one of those ones where you see like social justice warrior meltdowns where people get upset and they vent and they have music set to it and you get to see how crazy these people are. I'm thinking about doing that over the weekend, just a special video. Like I said, this weekend is going to have a lot of content that I did not expect to make, that of course I'm going to be making over the course of the weekend, and also not to mention the fact that Veterans Day is on Monday, Marine Corps birthday is on Sunday, so I'll definitely have a video about that out. So the thing is this right here. These people, they don't seem to understand why it is that they lost. And Styx made a great video about this earlier where he basically said that they're confused. And obviously that's a good thing because you don't want these crazy people to ever take charge. So let's go through this really quick. Supposedly 45% of Hispanics, mostly Latino men, revolted against the Democratic Party. Not only do they revolt against the Democratic Party, but when they scream racist, misogynist, I want people to understand that whites, Trump actually got less whites. It looks like he only got about 56% as opposed to the 58% that he got in 2016. As a matter of fact, Mitt Romney got 59% of white voters in 2012. Trump only got 57% of white voters in 2020. So it seems to me like the whole white supremacist angle isn't exactly working on these people. It isn't exactly working out too well for these people. And going back to what I said about Hispanics, 45%. I said there was going to be a shift. Now that number could get redacted down once we get the official numbers in because California is still counting votes as well as Arizona and Nevada. But of course, like I said, that's a pretty strong rebuke. Now, Ben Shapiro also made a video about this the other day. I'm going to play a certain small segment of it, which, of course, kind of goes back to exactly how bad the American people or how much the American people said, screw you. As far as the Democrats were concerned, this entire country shifted to the right.
Going to win. He's going to finish up this election cycle with 312 electoral votes compared to Democrats' 226. But that's not actually the chart of the evening. The chart of the evening is this one, courtesy of the New York Times. Okay, this is what they call their red shift map. Okay, the red shift map from the New York Times is the most stunning electoral map that I have seen in any election.
That map right there should tell you everything you need to know. That map is a map that was put out by the New York Times. It has arrows and stuff. It shows you how the country shifted or how the country voted this election. This was a shift of what looks like to be anywhere between 5 to 8 points. If you think for 2 seconds that the Democrats are going to be able to come out in 2028 and be able to elect a moderate Democrat, especially given the fact that there is obviously a move to do so. I'm showing you guys a tweet from a very, very delusional person named Kyle Sweetser, who believes that a lot of Republicans who are jilted with Donald Trump will just go join the Democrats and create a brand new party. It's not going to work. It's not going to work for the most part because, like I've said in previous videos, the mainstream media, as well as the leftist online class, which we'll be talking about a little bit later on this weekend, they have gassed their followers up so daggone much to the point to where now nobody believes what the hell they say. Let me further clarify what I mean by that, and we'll get back to what Shapiro was saying. But you guys, I don't know if you guys know this about me or not. I may have mentioned it before. One of the things that I really love to watch is I love to watch stories from wrestling. I'm talking about stories, the backstage stories, the guys will come out and tell stories about what really happened in this case. You can catch these types of videos on channels like Title Match Wrestling, Kayfabe, Hannibal T. These guys do a lot of interviews where they interview old wrestlers. Bruce the Barber Beefcake, before he died, Psycho Sid Justice, whatever you might want to call him. He did an interview, and he said something very, very interesting that struck me in one of those interviews. He was talking about his time in the WWE, his first stint. He said that Vince McMahon had promised him a bunch of stuff. Now, I don't know how much of it's true or not, but he said he basically told him that we're going to do this, we're going to do that there. And finally, one day, Sid got upset and said, none of what you've told me has come true, or it's not happened yet. Basically, what I'm saying to you guys is that the mainstream media that told you that Donald Trump was going to lose, they did this, by the way, in 2016. The same leftist media that calls him a fascist, the same leftist media that basically goes after his family, the same gaslighting that goes on every single day from our media has got people right now saying to themselves, well, I thought you said this was going to come true. I thought you said that that was going to happen. I thought you said this guy was a fascist. You see, people begin to wake up, they begin to see. Which is very interesting because before I play for you guys the rest of what Shapiro said, I hate to play what Charlamagne the God said here recently.
Having a sense of optimism because the reality is we have no choice because we're here now. Donald J. Trump is going to be the 47th president of the United States of America, like it or not. And we all hope for the best for this country. That's all we can do. But don't y'all find it strange that now that he's won, they're not calling him a threat to democracy? They're not calling him a fascist. I mean, damn, on Monday.
They're not calling him anything.
They can't. On Monday, they was just calling him that. I would think that, if you really believe that, then somebody's speech would be about how America effed up and how things are about to be really bad.
Leaving that man
He's
alone.
the most powerful man in the world now.
Well, it just makes you wonder how much of it did they really believe or how much of it was just politics.
Now Morgan also.
Charlamagne, it's because the media knows they screwed up. But if I remember correctly, you were complaining to Anderson Cooper saying you don't attack Trump enough. That's another problem that's going to happen here in the future because you're about to see the left itself, like leftists, the social justice warrior class, you're about to see them split from the Democratic Party, and they're probably going to form their own coalition. I believe that right there is going to happen, and I'll have videos out on that in the near future. And I'll also have those historical pieces I plan on making that I'll probably further explain why that's the case too. If you just look back at somebody's past, you can always find out what their future is going to be, and I believe that something is going to happen. The party itself is not going to be able to rely on these social justice warrior leftist types because the leftist types out there, they're already beginning to get frustrated with the Democratic Party, kind of like what Cenk Uynger's reaction was, or a slight little meltdown he had the other night, kind of indicates.
As things stand, I just came off the Young Turks show where I lit into the Democratic Party. Bunch of losers, corporate Democrats. I hate them. They've cost us election after election. They're corrupt. And they lost, it looks like, to a syphilitic clown, total moron, con man, Donald Trump. So if you lose to a buffoon like Donald Trump twice, what does that make you?
Cenk will have a special video out this weekend because I think he's going through a bit of a humiliation ritual. But back to Shapiro.
In recent memory, look at this map. Okay, the red arrow means counties in which it went more Republican than in 2020 versus counties where it went more Democrat than in 2020. Do you see this? The entire country went more red. The entire country. This was a radical rebuke of Biden-Harris. It was a radical rebuke of the Democratic Party, a brutal, radical rebuke. And it's in every single category. And the New York Times breaks it down by county type. Urban counties, okay, Trump, urban areas, those counties. Trump shifted toward Trump by 5.2 points. Suburban shifted toward Trump, 4.3 points. Less than 50% white shifted toward Trump by 6.9 points. Over 25% Hispanic shift to Trump by almost 10 points. Okay, Hispanics are they are the big story of the election, just if we're talking demographically. We're going to look at the exit polls in just a moment. They are shocking. Large population, young, age 18 to 34, shifts to Trump, 5.6 points. Large age 65 plus population shifts toward Trump, 4.9 points.
18 to 29, that's going to be coming up in the video about leftist media, which I may go ahead and get out tonight. The point is this right here. The media has lied to these people so much, they've gassed them up so much that nobody's going to believe them anymore. I mean, let's go back through and look at some of the things that the media said in reaction to their loss. Let's go back to that little bit that I had from the Daily Caller that I found from them. Let's just watch this real quick.
Wave I've seen since Ronald Reagan's 49-state victory.
There were appeals to racism in this campaign, and there is racial bias in this country, and there is sexism in this country.
I can't help but wonder if the American people have given up on democracy.
I hear what you're saying, and I do see it differently because I'm thinking about the people who are not a part of anybody's elite, who are hurting tonight.
If she were a 6'4" white man from Arkansas or from, Florida, do you think she would be losing by that much?
I think that we've got to be honest. Among Hispanic men and black men, there's a lot of misogyny.
There are African-American women who know a little bit about being talked down to and know a little bit about having their economic dreams crushed, who try to dream a big dream.
And something else too, guys. Look at this facial expression of Joy Reid. This is the face of the left. Look at how mean and how demonic it looks. Hate, anger, piss, vinegar comes out of them. It flows from them. I guess the American people have seen enough. But what you're seeing, that's the face of the Democratic Party going forward. Just someone who's filled with hate and anger. Nobody wants to be associated with that.
Enough to get enough white women to vote for Vice President Harris, a fellow woman. This will be the second opportunity that white women in this country have to change the way that they interact with the patriarchy.
There's misogyny. But it's not just misogyny from white men. Mm-hmm. It's misogyny from Hispanic men.
Right.
It's misogyny.
Farron Griffin was trying to tell Sunny Hostin. She was trying to tell the panel. She was trying to tell them all why it was the Democrats that lost. There was this video that came out the other day that was posted on Timcast. I think it came out 2 days ago, where one analyst said the Democratic Party was no longer the party of common sense. People are telling them to abandon the race stuff. People are telling them to abandon the gender stuff. People are telling them to go to kitchen table issues. People are telling them to do that. And of course, they're not doing that. There's also something else, too, that needs to be said before I go any further. I remember listening to Tim Pool talk about this back in 2019. Democrats took back Congress because of kitchen table issues. They were running on kitchen table issues, being bipartisan. And in reality, they really weren't running on being bipartisan. Some of them were. The real reason why Democrats took back the House in 2018 was because the GOP Congress, really, to tell you the truth, wasn't worth the damn. They weren't trying to work with the current president, or at that time, President Trump. What do these Democrats do once they got in office? They try to impeach the man. As a matter of fact, they did twice. The American people did not call on you to impeach a president. That right there was sign number one. In 2022, Republicans screwed up their chances when they started talking about national abortion ban and crap 6 weeks before the election. And then also, to go on top of that, they decided to agree to an extremely bad budget that would benefit the left and not benefit the country. More and more money going to Ukraine. Other election issues, why it is people had enough. But this time around, 2024, they had to ensure that Trump got elected. Now, if this right here was just about Trump and not Republicans, and trust there's some problems there too, Republicans would have actually won more than 4 or 5 Senate seats, because we're still not sure about Kerry Lake's Senate seat or Sam Brown's. They would have won more than that. They would have gotten more than 220 seats in the House of Representatives. So the GOP's got issues to fix as well. But none of them are as pronounced as the Democratic Party, which is obviously now the party of loons, looniness, crazy people, lies. And of course, calling you racist, misogynist, and sexist and projecting all their problems onto you. People have had to deal with this for a while. Do you think people are going to want to go back? I'm just saying. The thing that I take away the most out of that little collage is David Axelrod, Obama's former campaign manager. They cannot break away from the race issue. Now, let me go ahead and talk about the race issue very, very momentarily before we get to the next step. This video that I have, I'm going to be placing in the description. Like I said, there's going to be a lot of videos there. from Melanie King. She was reading Barack Obama's statement post-election. And it sounded quite conciliatory. You know, we're proud of Kamala. Congratulations to former President Trump. But he said something in there that really struck me. And what he said was, he basically said we have a problem going forward with Democratic Party incumbents because the 2026 election, there's going to be a lot of governors out there who are at the end of their terms. And normally at the end of every single term, something happens. Or at the end of every 2 terms, something happens. The parties ultimately switch. The state says, okay, put a Republican back in charge. Okay? Well, it's time to go ahead and change the legislative body. And right now, Democrats look absolutely stupid. They look absolutely insane. So a big part of me thinks that just based off that there alone, now that people see it and they see it in the election reaction, they've already doomed themselves to the 2026 election map. They've also doomed themselves to the 2028 election map. Now, I did tell you guys I do plan on getting away from pure politics next year. I do. But there still will be the occasional video every now and again where I explain what's going on. Kind of like what Depressed Ginger does. I kind of like his channel model. I may adopt that. But still, the point is this right here. He was trying to say to these people, we need to have a serious conversation about our politics going forward. Do we want to continue to go in this direction? And of course, as you heard from David Axelrod, for all the reactions, I think that Axelrod's is the one that tells me that these people, quite frankly, are never going to learn. And the American people have kind of figured out that, yeah, you've cried wolf so many damn times. We're not going to believe you even if you do try to come back to the center. But there was one more thing that I did want to play for you guys that kind of doubles down on this. The other day I played an exchange between Joe Scarborough and Al Sharpton. Let me play that for you guys one more time.
We've all been talking about who do not want a woman leading them. Might be race issues with Hispanics. They don't want a black woman as president of the United States. You know, the Democratic Party, I've always found when you're sitting around talking, they love to just sort of balkanize everybody into these separate groups and say, oh, white people don't like women and black people. No, it is time for the Democrats to say, okay, and you and I have talked about this before, a lot of Hispanic voters have problems with black candidates.
Right.
A lot
and
of,
with other Hispanics. You got some that don't like each other. Misogynist things I've heard going on this Get Out the Vote tour came from black men. I mean, misogynist things. So you're absolutely right. It's not simplistic, and we've got to have real honest conversation.
Why Hispanics went to Trump. Did you think that maybe a border crisis that brought in a bunch of illegals who were going to get work ahead of Hispanics who are already here? I would be 100% willing to bet that the Hispanics that voted for Donald Trump are not illegals at all. As a matter of fact, there was actually a bit out there where they were calling for the deportation of Hispanics because Hispanics voted for Donald Trump. You can't rely on that voter block. I called this in a previous video. I also said that the border crisis, the attempts to try to replace another race, was not going to work because this woke model was not going to benefit you going forward. That was what their goal was. Their goal was to bring these Hispanics in to replace a brand new voter block, which we'll talk about in this video here in a second. That was their goal. And obviously it backfired because native-born Hispanics, or those who obtained their citizenship, they voted for Donald Trump probably in droves. And you called them racist, you called them misogynistic, you called them sexist. Same thing with white women. When you make abortion the top issue, when the truth be told is women buy milk and eggs more than any other sex, because they've got what? Children to take care of, husbands to take care of, especially married women. The statistics on married women right now at this moment in time should be causing Democrats a hell of a lot of panic right now. When you made abortion the top issue, you put the sluts, the whores, and the undesirables front and center. People saw that and they said, we don't want this running our nation. And go back to what Sonny Hostin said at the very beginning of the video. That's their personality. That's who the hell they are. Now, I don't think I'll be able to cover every single issue in this video because it's really not that long of a video. Not as long as what I normally make. But the fact of the matter is, you have an extremely crap economy. You have these liberals who live in an echo chamber. And don't worry, we'll talk about that because Hollywood, I got to talk about them at some point in time. These people don't deal with everyday issues like everyday people do. There's a reason why it is the working class went out there in droves and voted for Trump. There's a reason why it is that people are tired of this race narrative. There's a reason why it is that people are tired of the whole gender thing. I don't think I have to speak too much on that. But as you guys can see, the American people were obviously fed up. They said, we've had enough of this. But like I said before, it tells me that not only have they had enough of what's going on right now, but they've had enough of the damn party. Why is that the case? Well, it's because of the internet. You see, back in the 1990s, when Bill Clinton got elected president, the internet didn't exist. In 1996, the internet didn't exist. In 2000, the internet did exist. Bush got elected anyways. In 2004, the internet was not powerful in getting Bush out of office because people had their sons and daughters overseas fighting for the country. In 2008, Obama comes around. Next thing you know, he's like the first internet celebrity president. The internet stayed with these people in 2012. Then in 2016, the internet bit these people in the ass because they had gone for free speech so much. People got tired of it, sending an FU to the system, and they voted for Trump. In 2020, you had to combat this with COVID. Now, outside of boomers, nobody watches the mainstream media, so the Democratic Party is losing a massive arm of their party. You realize that Donald Trump doing these podcasts with Theo Vaughn and Logan Paul and Joe Rogan, you realize that that's what really and truly got him elected, right? Also, somebody else also did an episode with Joe Rogan recently and Theo Vaughn. His name is J.D. Vance, the VP. Republicans have learned to use the podcasting game. So I do expect YouTube trying to censor these people here in the near future. But this is President and Vice President of the United States, the leader of the free world. Good luck trying to censor them going forward. And the leftist YouTube channels out there are just pure total cringe. But we'll talk more about that when I get to them in the next video. I'm saying this right now because of all the wolf tickets, because of all the BS, because of all the lies. People are just going to view the mainstream media as nothing more than pure comedy. That's how I view them. They're going to view leftist content creators as pure comedy. Like I said, we'll talk about them in the next video. But something else, too, that needs to be said. It's something that I wanted to say at the very beginning because you guys know me. I do this stuff off script. Is that little shift, that shift to the right is probably going to be permanent. You see, once people have seen enough of something, and I talked about this in my video when I was talking about women, that they've lost them for good, people have very, very long memories, especially women. They've seen what the Democratic Party has done. They've seen how bad things are. They've seen how bad things have been. They see what's happened to their kids. They see the ideologies they've been taught. They see the racial BS. They see all this crap. And you're wondering right now why it is that the vast majority of the country shifted to the right. There's your answer. And guess what? It ain't coming back. But you guys tell me what you think in the comment section. I'd love to hear what you guys have got to say on it. Tell me if I'm wrong or not. Please hit the like button, subscribe, share the video, sound off in the comments, and I'll see you guys later.